So you had been running since, I don't know, 2012 or something of that nature. You've been doing it for some time. I've talked to folks on this show who have found running, for example, or their athletic event or sport post their drinking years. Like they've come into it in their sobriety versus you who have been who's been very much, in your addiction and now very much in your recovery and have been an athlete the entire time. So I guess my question to you is, in that space of being an athlete, long distance running is a competitive sport. I feel as though there's a lack of mechanisms for folks to be able to cope with the challenges that come with being an athlete, number one. And then this necessity to always be like the tough one and to power through it. So I'm curious what your experience was. Did being an athlete almost perpetuate um, your substance use and maybe prolong it for longer than it needed to? I'm just curious, like what your perspective is on that through the lens of a competitive athlete versus just through the lens of being a man.
Well, you know what, Ray? That's a perfect way of asking because, I distinctly remember, I remember one time I was with a girlfriend of mine. We went out that Saturday evening. We went out to a place in West Hollywood, this bar. We're having a good time. We're drinking, we're dancing. Next day, Sunday, we had a half marathon and
Mm,
we ran it. And I smelled like a Jameson distillery. I kid you not.
yeah.
But with running, when I was drinking and running at the same time, it gave me the excuse to keep on drinking because I was an athlete. Hey, I'm fired up. I am fun. I'm good to go. And
Yeah.
the environment that I was in, it was especially during that time, pre-pandemic, during that time, drinking and running was huge and it was heavy. It was really, really heavy. So every little thing that you did, you were either drinking right after a run or prior to a run or during a run, one or the other. It was just insane.
Mm,
Now to go
yeah.
deeper though, I fell in love with my running all over again in my sobriety.
Mm, that's
I
lovely.
felt like because the one thing about sobriety, especially early recovery, oh my goodness, in early recovery, it's a long process because you're getting to know yourself all over again
Or getting to know yourself for the first time.
or getting to know yourself for the first time. Yes, yes. For me, I had to get to know myself all over again. I had to remember the things that brought me joy,
Hmm.
authentic joy. Sorry, I'm going to segue right quick. Last night, I just finished the final episode of watching Sweet Tooth on Netflix, and I'm
Okay.
sobbing. And I'm sobbing because I started that show when I was in early recovery. It came on,
Mm.
it began June 2021, and I was 8 months sober, and that was what I needed the most. So, seeing the last episode, I'm like, oh my God, I'm 3 years and 8 months. Oh, so I'm just like, God is so good.
Uh,
But I got to know myself all over again, and I got to know running all over again.
mm,
Ray, there were so many goals that I wanted to. There were goals that I used to say that I wanted to do. I wanted to travel the world and run. I wanted A, B, and C this from running and running and running. That shit wasn't happening, part of my language. That wasn't happening if I kept on drinking and being a
hmm.
fool.
Yeah.
Now, it took time because you know how the process in the universe works. It takes time. I distinctly remember it was October of 2022. October of 2022, September, October 2022. I was like, you know what? Let me just enter the Tokyo Marathon lottery just for ha-has and giggles. I'll never forget I was leaving my undergrad marketing class from Cal State LA and I was about to hop on the bus. I was at
Hmm.
the bus stop and I got this email saying Tokyo Marathon lottery result. Opened up the email and said, after a rigorous routine process of drawing, you've been selected. I'm like, are you serious?
That's cool.
So when you're doing the work as an athlete, I use my sobriety in the in the mentality of being an athlete. I have to do the work every single day. And as a runner, I have to do the work every single day because this is what's keeping me alive. So the joys that I have with running now, of running 5 world majors and having only Berlin left, running Boston Marathon, the Academy Awards of running, I just, it just brings me so much joy to know that my running has uplifted me to the point of mindfulness and calmness and connecting more with others as well too.
Mm. I love that, and I love the fact that you felt back in love with, an old friend,
I did. I
you know,
did. It
which is
felt like I
beautiful.
was reconnecting with an old friend saying, you know what, it's been way too long. I've missed you. It's like, I've missed you too. I've always been here, but I'm happy that we're both in the present now.
No.